You ever watch somebody absolutely implode in public, like full meltdown, red in the face, yelling about maritime crime while two bored teenagers and a Labrador look on? Yeah, that was my Thursday morning at Willowbend Lakes. By the time the second patrol car eased up to the boat launch, Lorraine Bishop, president of our illustrious HOA, was standing on my dock in full spectacle mode, shrieking about aqua theft. She was waving her manicured finger at me like I'd personally siphoned the Atlantic into a kiddie pool. "This man is stealing from the community," she hollered, her voice echoing across the water. "He's using the lake without paying the lake usage fee. That's wire fraud. That's maritime crime." I kid you not, even the teenagers in the rental kayaks just froze mid-paddle, unsure whether to laugh or bolt. My dog Moose, meanwhile, flopped on the dock planks with his head on his paws, radiating the kind of disappointment only a Labrador can muster. And me? I just sat in my folding chair at the end of the dock, sunglasses on, coffee in hand, watching the show while the officers climbed out of their cruisers. Officer number 1 tried, bless him, to keep a straight face. "Ma'am, just to clarify, you called 911 because he wouldn't pay a lake fee?" Lorraine whipped out a blue carbon receipt like it was a federal warrant. "The Willowbend Lakes HOA has established a mandatory lake usage fee of $50 a month for any resident accessing community water features," she announced, chest puffed out. "He's refusing to pay and still using the shoreline." The officer looked over at me. "Sir, do you live here?" "Yep," I nodded, pointing at my house. "Ethan Cole, been here 3 years." "And are you refusing to pay the HOA's lake fee?" "Yes, I am," I said, real calm, "because she's charging people to use something that doesn't belong to her." Lorraine let out a laugh, sharp and high, almost impressive. "Doesn't belong to me? Sweetie, the HOA owns this lake. I run this lake. I literally have it on a t-shirt." I set my coffee down, reached in my backpack, and pulled out a thick, plastic-covered document with a very official county stamp. "Funny," I said, handing it to the officer, "because according to the county recorder's office, the lake belongs to me." The officer scanned the deed, blinked twice, then looked at Lorraine. "Miss Bishop, we need to have a talk about who's calling 911 on who, and who actually owns the water you're selling. But let me back up a sec. 3 months before the dock drama, my life was honestly bliss. I'm Ethan Cole, 35, software engineer by day, hermit by night. After 10 years of open-plan offices and roommates who thought doing the dishes meant spraying them with water and walking away, I cashed out some stock, escaped the city, and bought a house in Willowbend Lakes, a master-planned lakeside development outside Mapleford. House wasn't fancy, dated kitchen, beige carpet, all the classic suburban sins. But the backyard opened right onto this little peaceful lake. Ducks, fireflies, sometimes a heron doing its moody loner act. The exact desktop wallpaper I'd dreamed about for years, except now it was real, and my dog could finally pee near it. At closing, my realtor slid over a thick binder labeled Willowbend Lakes HOA, Rules and Regulations. "This thing could double as a blunt force weapon. Don't let it scare you," she said. "They're big on maintaining standards, but as long as you don't paint your house neon or start a goat farm, you'll be fine." Yeah, famous last words. That night, I flipped through the binder. No RV parking, mow your lawn, trash cans in by sunset, yada yada. Nothing wild. There were a few lines about lakeside decor guidelines and dock appearance standards, but nothing screaming tyranny. The HOA president, Lorraine Bishop, introduced herself a week later. She appeared at my front door in a linen blouse, massive silver anchor necklace, and a visor that literally read Lake Life Boss. She handed me a basket of branded cozies and pamphlets. "We are so thrilled to have another lakeside resident. The shoreline is our crown jewel." The pamphlet was titled, I kid you not, "Protecting Our Shared Water Assets." I should have known right then. We did the usual small talk, but her eyes kept sliding past me to the water through my living room window. "Such a lovely view," she said. "We take our lakes very seriously here. They're community property." "Yeah," I replied. "I saw something in the closing docs about easements." She just waved it off. "Legalese. The important thing is the HOA manages the lakes, fish, docks, boat launches, all of it for fairness." I nodded, thinking, "All right, I'll follow the dock color rules, whatever." What I didn't know was buried somewhere in the county archives was a dusty old document that said otherwise. The first sign Lorraine wasn't just involved, but unhinged came in a pastel green envelope. Subject, exciting new amenity. It read, In order to maintain and enhance our premium water experience, the HOA is implementing a lake usage fee for all residents who access our lakes, ponds, and canals. $50 per month basic splash package, shoreline access hand fishing. $75 per month silver paddle, non-motorized boats. $100 per month golden wake, guest access sunset slots. Please select your tier. I read it twice and checked the calendar to make sure it wasn't April Fool's. Hand fishing? Really? Attached was a FAQ. Why do I need a lake usage fee? Answer. HOA dues cover landscaping and admin. Our lakes are a premium shared resource requiring separate funding. What if my property line goes to the water? The water and shoreline visuals remain under HOA jurisdiction. I set it down. Nope, I told Moose. We're not paying cable bundles for water. Next day, email from Lorraine. Hi, Ethan. Just a reminder to submit your lake usage tier. As a lakeside owner, you have mandatory participation in our premium water program. I saw your little doc. So cute. So I penciled you in for the Golden Wake package. We'll add it to your next statement. Lake love, Lorraine. I replied, Hey Lorraine, thanks but I'm not opting in. I'll maintain my dock and use my yard as allowed by the CC and RS. 5 minutes later she shot back. It's not optional. Lakes are common property. If you use the shoreline, you pay. HOA has full authority over water access. That's when the harassment campaign started. First, courtesy reminders taped to my front door. Observed lakeside activity without visible wristband. Unauthorized sunrise coffee on dock. Golden Wake perk only. Dog within 5 feet of shoreline without pet pass. Then I noticed strangers patrolling the walkway behind the houses. 2 dudes in blue polos embroidered Willowbend Water Rangers, with clipboards and, I swear, binoculars. I watched them photograph my dock from the kitchen window. Next up, Lorraine rolled out a wristband system. To ensure fair and rule-abiding enjoyment, all residents and guests must wear their lake wristband when within visual distance of water features. At week's end, an orange band showed up in my mailbox. We've issued you a temporary basic splash band until your Golden Wake payment clears. Please upgrade ASAP. I put the band on Moose's stuffed duck and carried on living. The final straw before things went nuclear, a violation notice. Issue: unauthorized launch of watercraft kayak from community shoreline without active lake usage fee. Fine, $200. Notes: resident observed kayaking at 6:47 p.m. without visible wristband. This constitutes theft of community water resources. That was it. I emailed Lorraine. Show me where in the recorded CC and RS it gives the HOA ownership of the lake itself. Not the path, not the HOA park, the lake. Until then, I'm not paying your made-up fee. She replied with a PDF of the rules binder, highlighting random phrases like water features and community aesthetic, then added, We own the lakes by implication. That's how HOAs work. Yeah, that happened. So, I did what any slightly spiteful, very introverted nerd would do. I checked the county's property maps. The online parcel viewer wasn't made for drama, but boy, it delivered. I pulled up Willowbend Lakes, expected to see one big blob labeled Lot A, HOA Common Area Lake. Instead, I saw rectangles for the houses, green for HOA parks, and a winding blue for the lake, with its own parcel number. Clicked it. Owner of record Cole, Ethan M. Acquired 3 years ago. I blinked, opened my closing packet, and there it was. Parcel 18L, Water Retention Basin and Associated Lake Body. The previous developer, according to the deed, had sold the lake with my lot as an incentive. Future maintenance at owner's discretion, subject to environmental regs. My stupid little lake was legally mine. Neighbors had shoreline easements, but the water itself, the stuff Lorraine was selling usage tiers for, was not hers. Not the HOA's. Mine. Just to be sure, I emailed the county recorder. They confirmed, attached a stamped copy of the deed. With paperwork in hand, I calmly sent Lorraine one more email. Please see attached deed and parcel record. You're attempting to charge people a lake usage fee for property that belongs to me, not the HOA. That's a problem. I suggest suspending your lake program until this is corrected. 10 minutes later, she called, her voice dipped in saccharine panic. Ethan, this is all a misunderstanding. The developer always intended the lake to be common property. It's just paperwork lag. There is no lag, I said. There's a deed with my name on it. She switched to smug. Regardless of technicalities, The HOA controls community access. If you keep undermining our lake usage program, I will treat it as theft of HOA funds and trespass on common views. Common views? Yes. You can't monopolize what everyone sees. You're stealing visual enjoyment. I hung up before my brain could leak out my ears. 2 days later, it boiled over. I stepped onto my dock with coffee, and the water rangers stormed down the path with clipboards and a GoPro. Sir, you're in violation of the Golden Wake policy. You've exceeded your daily shoreline linger time without a wristband. You can document my butt, I told them. Get off my parcel. This is common shoreline. The HOA owns this access. That dock, I pointed, is halfway into my lake. You're quite literally standing on me. Leave. They refused. We did some yelling, me insisting they get lost, them acting like mini-mall cops. What I didn't know was Lorraine was watching, phone in hand. She didn't call me, she called 911. Hello, I need police at Willowbend Lakes. A man is attacking HOA officers and trespassing on community water. He's refusing to pay mandatory fees. He might be armed. By the time the cops showed, she was waiting at the path, trembling with righteous fury, fine notices in hand. What she hadn't done. Check the county property records. Big mistake. The officer saw my deed, and well, everything started sliding out of Lorraine's control like a kayak on wet moss. Officer number 1 took photos with his body cam. Officer number 2 stepped between Lorraine and the teenagers she was trying to charge on the spot. Mr. Cole owns the lake, including water and bed. Yes, I nodded. Neighbors have easements, but the HOA can't sell usage tiers for property it doesn't own. He turned to Lorraine. Ma'am, did you know the HOA doesn't actually own the lake? She folded her arms. We own the aesthetics, the community experience. That's what the fees are for. It's implied in the master plan. That's not how property law works, he said, and added. Also, you told dispatch there was an assault and possibly a weapon? She insisted. There was an assault. He threatened my rangers. One water ranger stared at the ground. He, told us to get off his dock. That's about it. The officer's face said it all. False report, harassment, property rights dispute way above his pay grade. All right, he exhaled. Nobody's going to jail over lake wristbands today. We're filing an incident report. Mr. Cole, talk to a lawyer. Miss Bishop, 911 is for emergencies, not HOA drama. I'd already consulted a property attorney, Alicia Tran, who lived for weird easements and water rights. When I sent her the officer's report and Lorraine's emails, she called me practically buzzing. So, the HOA is collecting money for a resource they don't own, using threats, calling the cops on the actual owner when he pushes back? That's the short version. This, she said, is my new favorite thing. Within a week, Alicia sent a cease and desist to the HOA, demanded all lake fees halt and refunds issued. She flagged it for the County Consumer Protection Office, filed a complaint with the state AG, tossing around words like unjust enrichment and systematic misrepresentation. The HOA board, which had just rubber-stamped Lorraine's nonsense, started emailing me privately. We thought the lake was HOA owned. Lorraine said the developer promised. We never saw the deed. Please don't sue us personally. We're so tired. Neighbors started asking questions in the Facebook group. Wait, so the lake usage fee we've been paying doesn't go to the lake's owner? Is that why there's never any maintenance? Screenshots found their way to Alicia. Lorraine did what she does best, doubled down, blasting out an all-caps email. Ignore false claims about lake ownership. HOA retains full moral control. All residents must continue paying pending legal clarification. Moral control. Alicia laughed so hard she nearly choked. I'm framing this. The big showdown was at the special lake governance meeting, Lorraine's grand moment, or so she thought. Instead, half the neighborhood showed up, a local reporter slipped in the back, and the county investigator sat front row. The clubhouse smelled like burnt coffee and panic. Lorraine started with a PowerPoint about aquatic vision and kayaking festivals. Someone in the back muttered, "Where's the refund slide?" Then Alicia stood up. Ethan Cole's counsel, she said, plugging in her laptop. Slide 1, parcel map, the lake glowing blue with my name. Slide 2, deed excerpt, grants and conveys lake body to Ethan M. Cole. Slide 3, page from the HOA's public statement where the developer describes the lake as privately held. Slide 4, Lorraine's lake fee letters and revenue projections. The room went dead silent except for a whisper. "Oh, she's cooked." Alicia ended with a slide titled, "What This Means." HOA sold access to property it does not own. Residents paid under false pretenses. HOA threatened liens and law enforcement. HOA president called 911 on the owner. "You have a massive problem," she told the board. "My client's been patient. We are prepared to pursue civil claims. But first, we'd like to hear your plan." All eyes turned to Lorraine. She blamed everyone, the developer, the board, me for being petty about technicalities. A board member cleared his throat. "Lorraine, you told us the lake was common. We asked about the deed. You said it was handled. You designed the fee structure, hired the water rangers. You're the one with Lake Czar on your coffee mug." The county investigator finally spoke. "Miss Bishop, our office is opening a formal inquiry. Given what we've seen, there are serious questions about fraud and misuse of 911. You could almost hear Lorraine's pulse spike. In the end, the board, led by a newly brave treasurer, called for a vote. Passed, all but one voice, guess who? Lake usage fees terminated. All funds to be refunded. Lorraine removed as president effective immediately, pending investigation. She tried to protest, but the treasurer was already taking her key card. Not a graceful exit. A week later, the Attorney General announced a settlement. HOA had to repay all fees plus penalties, was barred from ever charging for property it didn't own again, and had to take mandatory property rights training. Lorraine got personally fined $5,000 and had previously involved in unauthorized amenity fee program, subject to state enforcement action, stapled to her future HOA resume. I'll never forget Lorraine standing there, pale, shaking as the treasurer read the settlement. The anchor pin on her blazer catching the light, that big preserving our water legacy banner behind her suddenly looking less like a victory proclamation and more like evidence in a fraud case. The water rangers, reassigned to landscaping duty, watched her go without a word. So, next time someone tells you the HOA owns the lake, maybe check the deed. And if your HOA president threatens you with moral control, well, let's just say, sometimes the only thing standing between you and a monthly hand fishing fee is a stubborn nerd with a printer and a bad attitude. But hey, what do you think? Was Lorraine just doing her job, or did she deserve everything she got? Drop a comment and tell me where you stand on HOAs, property rights, and what community really means, because in Willow Bend I guarantee we're all still talking about it. 4.